When we watch movies, we don't often think about the hard work that goes into making them. That is, unless the movie itself is about making movies. There's many examples to choose from, like Singing in the Rain. In this movie, we're shown the technical troubles that Hollywood went through when they switched from silent films to sound. King Kong is another example, this time all fiction, obviously. Carl Denham's trying to make a movie, but he's so obsessed that he actually brings danger to his whole crew and then to the city of New York. Whether fiction or reality, filmmaking is nothing but trouble, and these are my picks, the ones that focus on the filmmaker and all the sacrifices they have to make to achieve their dream. It's Cinemassacre's Top 5 Movies About Making Movies. Number 5, Shadow of the Vampire. Even though this is all fiction, it uses a real-life movie as its basis, Nosferatu, which is the oldest surviving Dracula film from 1922. It's a clever choice because that movie was so long ago, who knows what happened on the set? And they do a great job recreating all these scenes. John Malkovich plays the director, F.W. Murnau. He's determined to make an authentic vampire movie, so he casts a real vampire for the part, Max Schreck, who's played by Willem Dafoe. The vampire is not easy to work with at all. That's the sacrifice he has to make for his art, that he has to deal with an extremely difficult actor. Even worse, he endangers the lives of everybody. But Murnau has so much passion for the film, he just pushes ahead. It's brilliant dark comedy. You never know if you're supposed to laugh or not. But it shows truth, that when you're so committed to your own project, the world around you stops functioning right. Number 4, Living in Oblivion. For a little low-budget film, it goes a long way. It's divided into 3 parts, combines black and white footage with color, and centers around the making of a fictional film that's gone to hell. Everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong, from technical problems to personal relationships on the set. Steve Buscemi plays the director, and he's just in the center of a whirlwind of madness. When he flips out, you really believe it.
What are you laughing at, Wolf? You fucking pretentious beret-wearing motherfucker. Hey!
Some of the actors don't cooperate either. There's this one guy who's the star. He's real cocky and he wants to take control of everything. Then there's this guy making fun of one of the worst movie cliches.
The only place I've seen dwarves and dreams is in stupid movies like this.
It's funny and entertaining all the way through, but you also start to feel like you're part of the production. You can feel the frustration and the chaos that's going on. Filmmaking is a nightmare, and not everything goes the way as planned. But sometimes, you just gotta step back and laugh at the whole thing. As Steve Buscemi's character learns, you just gotta roll with it. Number 3, Be Kind, Rewind. It's a movie I relate to so much. The title alone reminds you of the old days when you'd rent a VHS tape from the video store and you had to rewind it. That's exactly what this movie's about, a video store that's going downhill. They still rent VHS tapes, and then one day, every tape in the whole store gets erased. The explanation of how it happens is totally unpredictable and original. But anyway, the employee and his friend, whom are played by Mos Def and Jack Black, have to remake every movie in the store, starting with Ghostbusters. All they have is a VHS camera and no other actors to work with, so they just have to do it on their own. They spend no money on special effects, it's all blunt creative force. Some of the things they do are actually pretty crafty. Remaking a movie on such a humble scale they call sweeting, and I think it's wonderful. I plan on sweeting a movie whenever I can get 5 minutes. But more trouble happens. The copyright lawyers slam down on them, and the video stores threaten to be renovated. So they grab together all their friends and make their own original movie. They screen it in the store, on a blanket, while the wrecking crew waits outside to demolish the building. When I see all those glowing faces looking at what they accomplished, that's the moment I realized, wow, I'm emotionally attached to this. I thought this would just be a funny little movie with Jack Black goofing around that parodies other movies, but it touched me on a personal level. It reminds me of the movies I made growing up. I even had the same exact camera that they're using. This is a movie that taps into the culture of zero-budget filmmaking, a movie that comes out and says anybody can be a filmmaker. Number 2, Ed Wood. I already talked about this movie in my series of Ed Wood reviews, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. Again, we're dealing with a real-life director, the king of B-movies, Ed Wood. It chronicles the making of 3 of his most notorious films, Glen or Glenda, Bride of the Monster, and Plan 9 from Outer Space.
That cardboard headstone tipped over.
Nobody will ever notice that.
It does a great job recreating the look of all these films. The black and white photography is glorious, the music is magnificent, and it has that overall style that only Tim Burton could give it. Martin Landau plays horror icon Bela Lugosi to a T, and it's almost like he's come back from the grave. It not only focuses on the hardships of Ed Wood, but Bela too. There's a lot of sadness in this movie, as well as comedy. In the end, it picks you up and makes you feel good. That even though Ed Wood was called the worst director and he had a lot of problems, he never gave up and never gave in to the man, because visions are worth fighting for. And now for my favorite. Number 1, American Movie Man. It's a documentary about a filmmaker, Mark Borchardt, who's trying to make a movie with the help of his loyal pal Mike Shank. There's something about this I can't explain, something so down-to-earth and real, I consider it my filmmaking Bible. The things Mark says are like a stream of consciousness. It doesn't always come out right, but it makes perfect sense.
So when I do this, I've already got what's in between my hands.
And Mike is so friendly, and everything he says, you just hang on to his words. Mark and Mike are two funny motherfuckers. I think of them as a comedy duo, like Abbott and Costello or Jay and Silent Bob, except they're actually funnier.
It's an unnatural cross, Mark.
What do you think, when Jesus was hanging there, he thought it was natural?
And they're not even scripted, they're real people. The director, Chris Smith, just happened to catch lightning in a jar repeatedly for at least an hour and a half.
They're making a mockery out of my words, man. You understand that, Mike?
No.
I've seen it so many times, and it's so burned into my brain, I compulsively quote lines from this movie on a daily basis. How can I help myself? It's the most quotable movie in existence.
I gotta start cleaning up somebody's shit, man.
I can relate to Mark and all the trouble he goes through trying to finish the movie. He even has to get his mom to act.
I have my shopping to do, and I have
know.
so
This
much.
is the last day I can shoot.
Even my mom could relate to this because I've done the same thing. Then there's Uncle Bill, spitting out comedy gold.
Okay, cut, take 31.
This is for the shits and for the birds.
It's not all 100% comedy. There is sadness in it, but it shows hope to pursue your aspirations against all odds. According to Mark, that's the American dream, and this is the American movie.